Prince Charles acknowledged the existence of conspiracy theories and how frustrating they can be as NHS staff and volunteers are tirelessly delivering as many booster jabs as possible to tackle the emergence of the Omicron variant. Speaking out against vaccine misinformation, the Prince of Wales said, "It is so frustrating, all these nonsense conspiracy theories." Charles took this stance against vaccine misinformation on Tuesday, as he was visiting a pop-up vaccination clinic in Kennington, London. At the Lambeth GP Federation COVID Vaccinations Walk-in Centre, housed in a church, Charles was able to see the work against time carried out by 127 vaccinators and 190 volunteers working shifts around the clock. The clinic has been administering 3,000 boosters a day, which is 300 an hour. Wearing a face covering, Prince Charles spoke to some of the people working at the vaccination centre, including former picture editor Kate Souter. Ms. Souter explained to the future king she trained 8 months to become a vaccinator. Following the royal visit, the vaccinator shared a light-hearted exchange she had with Charles. She said, "He said thank you for helping, and I joked that I had the gift of the jab, and he laughed and said I'm going to use that." While in Kennington, Prince Charles met some of the hundreds of people queuing up to get their booster jabs. Speaking to some of them, he said, "So many marvelous people have been volunteering. I am glad you didn't have to wait too long." And in a joint statement, the Prince and the Duchess urged Britons to follow their lead. They said, "We can only offer our most heartfelt thanks and congratulations to all the scientists, volunteers and workers across the NHS who have helped bring about this extraordinary achievement. And to all those who have not yet had the vaccine or are hesitating before getting a booster, we can only urge you to look at the evidence in our intensive care wards and listen to those who work there. People who are unvaccinated are at least 10 times more likely to be hospitalized or die than those who have had 2 vaccine doses. That is why we urge everyone to get vaccinated and to take up the booster, as we have done ourselves." Prince Charles isn't the first member of the royal family to openly speak about misinformation when it comes to vaccines. Meghan and Prince Harry have been vocal supporters of the COVID jab and have been campaigning since mid-2021 for vaccine equity. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have also spoken on multiple occasions about the importance of dismantling misinformation and falsity surrounding the jabs in order to allow people around the world to confidently get protected against COVID-19. In September, Prince Harry took part in the GQ Men of the Year Awards to present Professor Dame Sarah Gilbert, Professor Catherine Green and the Oxford/AstraZeneca team one of the gongs. In his speech, he blamed mass-scale misinformation for COVID vaccine hesitancy, saying, "Less than 2% of people in the developing world have received a single dose at this point. And many of the healthcare workers are still not vaccinated. We cannot move forward together unless we address this imbalance as one." At the same time, families around the world are being overwhelmed by mass-scale misinformation across news media and social media, where those who peddle in lies and fear are creating vaccine hesitancy, which in turn leads to divided communities and eroding trust. This is a system we need to break if we are to overcome COVID-19 and the risk of new variants. Prince Harry's announcement about the release of his memoir has reportedly sparked concerns within the royal family. Prince Charles, 73, who is the heir apparent, wants his sons to support and emphasize his position and how good a king he would be. Expert Richard Eden claimed the Prince of Wales should brace for further comments from Prince Harry that could undermine his image. Jessica King, the host of Palace Confidential, asked, "Do you think that as said this is sort of chipping away at Charles's credibility? I mean, could it get worse?" Mr. Eden said, "I feel really sorry for Prince Charles. The Queen was always going to be an extremely hard act to follow, and there'd been plenty of doubts about Prince Charles as king. He needs his sons to be supporting him and emphasizing what a good monarch he would be, and instead he has Harry launching these brickbats from across the Atlantic. I think this statement was definitely part of that, and I think there'll be worse to come. I do worry genuinely. I think that's an overstatement." He added, I really do worry that eventually Harry will come out, perhaps, after the death of his grandmother, and come out against the monarchy altogether. The Duke also claimed that the Prince of Wales stopped answering his calls ever since he stepped down from his position within the royal family. Author Robert Lacey, in his new book Battle of Brothers, analysed the fragile relationship between Prince Charles and Prince Harry. Mr. Lacey said, "The media explanation of why Charles had stopped taking Harry TMS calls was all about money. The long-suffering father was apparently tired of being treated like a cash dispenser, as one royal source put it, but there were more profound issues at stake." Prince Charles has reportedly decided to slim down the monarchy by not extending the titles to Prince Harry TMS children that was once extended by George V since 1917. Mr. Lacey wrote, "In pursuing his own cause of the slimmed-down monarchy, Prince Charles had been making noises about limiting the number of HRHs created by George V TMS 1917 convention still further, thus cutting out Archie from his future princeship, and Meghan took that personally. Prince Harry expressed that he felt let down by his father and will try to heal the pain passed down to him genetically. He said, 'When it comes to parenting, if I've experienced some form of pain or suffering because of the pain or suffering that perhaps my father or my parents had suffered, I'm going to make sure I break that cycle so that I don't pass it on. It's a lot of genetic pain and suffering that gets passed on anyway, so we as parents should be doing the most we can to try and say, you know what, that happened to me, I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen to you.' Trademark." Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, both 39, recently released their Christmas card photo for 2021. The new family portrait was shared on Twitter, accompanied by a brief message from the Cambridges reading, "Delighted to share a new image of the family, which features on this year's TMS Christmas card." The adorable snap shows the family of 5 during a trip to Jordan. The Cambridges travelled there for a holiday during their children's TMS half-term break. The country is particularly important to the Duchess of Cambridge, who lived there from 1984 to 1986. Kate attended preschool in Jordan while her father worked for British Airlines. In the snap, Kate wears an olive green dress and sits next to her husband William, who wears a polo shirt and shorts. At William TMS side, sits 6-year-old Princess Charlotte wearing a checkered floaty blue and white dress. While on Kate TMS side, 8-year-old George wears a casual camouflage polo and beige shorts. 3-year-old Prince Louis sits on a fluffy rug on the floor while wearing a striped blue and white polo. Dr. Lillian Glass, an internationally renowned body language expert, analysed the image for express.co.uk. She pointed out that young Charlotte had the most serious expression of the family, but also that her body language indicated she has already been educated on what it is to be ladylike, meaning she could be clued up on royal protocol. Dr. Lillian Glass said, "Charlotte is the most serious of the group, although she does lean in towards her family in solidarity. She seems more reserved and self-contained in this photo as she holds onto her hand for restraint, self-comfort as well as balance. William does reach out to her with his arm in the back of her. Her ramrod posture shows she is also extremely confident and independent." She added, "Her sitting side saddle with legs together shows how she is groomed to be ladylike. Her closed lips and squinted-like eyes not opened brightly do not show happiness or joy but rather an obligation to sit for this photo." The image was met with delight from royal fans, with many pointing out that young Charlotte bared resemblance to her great-grandmother, the Queen. At Jograth 531, said, "You can really see Queen Elizabeth in Princess Charlotte." While at Marjorie 4804969 wrote, "Charlotte is such cute princess, she is a mini version of the Queen. George in this pic reminds me a lot of Charles, Diana's brother." At Livesey Eggs wrote, "Princess Charlotte really is her daddy TMS twin," and at Sion_ appeared to agree, writing, "Princess Charlotte is truly a copy and paste of her papa," while another, at Jessica Wood 94, wrote, "How does Princess Charlotte manage to look exactly like the younger Catherine, William and the Queen all at the same time?"